Well, for everybody that wants to see an increase to SNAP benefits, to Social Security benefits, possibly see a federal income tax elimination or a potential $1,000 tariff rebate check, this is a video you need to watch because the Supreme Court had oral arguments today, and what they said and just the looks on their faces says it all. What is going to happen with the tariff revenue that President Trump has brought in? According to reports, it's close to $100 billion that could go back. That's interesting. But look at this. It says Supreme Court justices weigh refund process for Trump tariffs. It says Justice Amy Coney Barrett cautioned during oral arguments Wednesday that the logistics of refunding companies that have paid the disputed duties would be a mess. Yeah, her words, a mess. So what exactly does this mean? Well, I want to show you something. It says, Supreme Court appears skeptical of Trump's tariffs argument. Says the Trump administration argued that the president had the authority to issue sweeping tariffs under a law reserved for use during times of an emergency. President Trump made it very clear that this is a national emergency. Not only are we fighting, pretty much a tariff war, but a trade war where other countries are charging us more than what we are charging them. So he increased the tariff amount. Not only that, he imposed tariffs on countries that we are seeing illegal immigration from and even drugs. But he also hit China with additional tariffs as well, saying that China is hurting the American people. Right now, judges are looking into this. Some say this argument could last several weeks. Others say it could last several months. But listen to this right here.
The one thing that raised my eyebrows was the degree of skepticism that you heard from some of these conservative justices, including some of the Trump appointees to the Supreme Court, who were pushing back on the Trump administration's argument that this 1977 law known as IEPA does give the president the authority to conduct tariffs as well as to regulate global commerce. The argument here is that, of course, the Constitution gives Congress the authority to raise taxes and to issue tariffs, not the executive branch. And
I do want to point out one thing before we listen to the rest of this. What we've been hearing is that Congress, obviously, they have the authority to impose tariffs on another country. Congress does. Right now, Congress is not getting along. The House of Representatives and the Senate, they're not working well together. And just in the Senate, they're trying to figure out how to get the government reopened. So there's a lot of speculation here. But if, and based off the reports from today, not just if, but when the Supreme Court rules that this was illegally done and the Trump administration does not have the authority to impose these types of tariffs on other countries, we can see about $100 billion have to go back and needs to be returned. But where is it going to go? Well, look at this. It says, Trump says tariff checks are probably coming to millions of Americans and soon. He said that just a week ago. Is this actually true? Are we going to see a tariff rebate check of $1,000 to $2,000? Well, it's possible, but it's not the highest likelihood. Here's another thing that President Trump said. It says Trump wants to eliminate income taxes. He wants to eliminate federal income taxes, and likely for people that make about $150,000 per year or less. Just eliminate it. This could be a substantial savings to millions of people, but at the same time, is it the best use of this tariff revenue? Some say yes, others say no. Now, I want to play you the rest of this clip, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what is the highest likelihood. Is it going to be increasing benefits to Social Security recipients and SNAP beneficiaries? Is it going to be to help pay down our national deficit, or possibly a tariff rebate check, or even eliminating federal income taxes? We'll talk about that in a moment.
And therefore, unless Congress very explicitly says we're going to delegate that power to the executive branch, it hasn't done so. So that was the fight this morning.
Have any ideas of timeline? We don't know how long the Supreme Court's going to take, but is this going to be like a one-day decision, or are they going to talk about this for weeks?
I think it could be more like weeks, Brian. We don't have an official deadline here from the Supreme Court. The expectation is before the end of the year, we're going to get some kind of determination from them. And of course, the big pressure on them is that all these tariffs continue to be collected, right? So every single day, American companies are paying at the border when these products are coming across the borders.
One thing I want to point out, and again, we'll listen to the rest of this, but the concern is that more products are coming into the United States. Guess what time we're in? This is Q4. This is the prime shopping season. Now, for the majority of a lot of these retailers, they've already received the bulk of their inventory. They've received it all. So your Walmarts, your Targets, your Amazons, your Costcos, they already have all the inventory that they need for this year is already in the United States. It's already here. It's in their warehouses. It's ready to be shipped off and sold. The concern is there's still a lot of inventory that's coming over that is, cheaper, Chinese goods coming in, purchased directly from other countries. That stuff is still coming in, and it will likely be coming in over the next 2 months. Okay, all the way until pretty much New Year's. That's the concern. Is we are currently at almost $100 billion in tariff revenue from these tariffs that the Supreme Court's questioning at this time, but if they decide this is, and they say this is not legal, and they reverse it, these tariffs, they go away, which means it brings down the cost to the American people, which is great, but at the same time, at what cost, and what happens to the rest of this money, these billions of dollars that has already been sent out? Well, let's keep listening to this.
So that means that the bar tab, so to speak, is growing round by round as we get closer to the end of the year. As of right now, the Treasury would have to pay about $90 billion back if the Supreme Court decides against the Trump administration here.
Okay. Now, I want to say a couple things. First off, based off of reports, okay, these are the different rankings, or kind of ranking these scenarios by the most likely versus least likely, okay? So, Congress, the most likely thing right now is Congress is just going to keep the money and help their pretty much general budget. Okay, they're going to keep it, pay down some debt, fund existing programs, and keep in mind what we're doing right now. We're in a government shutdown, meaning there's hundreds of thousands of people that are not working. They are not getting paid. Also, we're seeing our GDP get hit. We're seeing many losses, okay? With that said, according to reports, this is the most likely outcome, is Congress uses this money to help fund their existing programs, number one. Number two, to offset the damage of this government shutdown, which could pretty much go on to the end of this year. There's going to be a couple deadlines. The first one is about the 15th of November. The next one's going to be about December 1st. Then after that, it's likely going to be pushed all the way until January 1st. That right there is going to be a huge, huge problem if we make it all the way into January and the government still isn't open. But they also say the moderate chances of this happening, Congress using some tariff revenue for tax cuts, it's possible. Also for rebates or increasing benefits. And again, this isn't all benefits. This is just certain ones. And it's not SNAP, not Social Security. Okay, but their most the most likely option would be a potential increase to a tax cut, or decreasing the amount of people that are actually paying in. So we'll see. The least likely, again, this is the lowest tier. According to reports, they say Congress using some of this revenue to increase entitlements like Social Security benefits, SNAP. It would be highly unlikely because Congress can't figure anything out right now without introducing additional funding. There's a very good chance more and more lawmakers are going to try to tie this funding to other things, other priorities. For instance, they try to take some of this money and put it towards defense, put it towards paying down debt, put it towards whatever, building a new bridge, right? They're going to have something. They're going to tie this money to something to really help their constituents. And especially as we go into the next year, which is going to be a midterm election year, the problem is that we're going to face is that all these people that are running are going to promise their constituents the moon and going to say, well, I'm going to take some of this tariff revenue and we're going to use it to pay for this, and we're going to build a new library and build a new football stadium and all this stuff, right? That's where we're at. At the end of the day, this money is likely going to sit there because Congress can't figure out what to do with it. But I'll leave you with that. The interesting thing right now is that we're just watching this unfold, seeing what the Supreme Court decides, and then from there, what does the Trump administration do as a reaction? Are they going to fight the Supreme Court's ruling or just let it go? Well, we'll find out soon enough, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.